But at age 10, when I was playing outside one day with my brother, my mom, yelled at us to come inside to immediately because we thought we were in trouble. But what it was, and there was nothing to watch on TV back then. Trust me. But when we came in the house, she was pointing to a black and white RCA TV set with the rabbit ears for antennas because there was no cable back then.
Right.
And there were these four guys on the TV dressed in suits, and
Hmm.
two guys had electric guitars, one guy had a bass, and they had long
Mhm.
hair, and obviously it was the Beatles, and so it
Yeah.
was the Ed Sullivan Show. So that completely turned my whole focus into rock and roll, and I didn't know who they were, I didn't know where they were from. I just knew I wanted to be doing that, and so I said to my mom, I mean, who are these guys? She said, the Beatles, and I said, well, I want to play in that band. You got to call them up, get me in the band. I want to do that. And it was that moment, that exact moment I realized what my purpose in life was before I
Right.
even knew what those words purpose in life meant. But
Right.
as I look back, it's so obvious that was I'd never felt anything like that. I'd never seen anything like that. The key was I never felt anything like that. And
Right.
and so I started chasing after those feelings. And so, I said, "Ma, get me in the band." That's the obvious thing.
Mhm.
And I want to play drums. I'm not interested in this piano lesson stuff anymore. And she didn't call the Beatles up, obviously. And she was adamant about me playing the piano, but she saw me so blown away and so intense about rock and roll music that my mom and dad got me. Eventually, went to New York and got me a snare drum and a cymbal at Manny's on. You remember Manny's on
Of
Oh yeah,
40th?
yeah.
course. Of
Yeah.
I'm from New
course.
York. Yeah, we're both from New York.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So anybody who's listening who doesn't know, 48th Street was a place where they had Manny's music. They also had Sam
Sam
Ash,
Ash. Yep.
and this was the music stores. You could go in there and all of a sudden you'd see Led Zeppelin there, or you'd be there and all of a sudden Hendrix would walk in. Anybody who came to New York went
That's where
to
they went.
Manny's mostly.
Annie's, yeah.
Yep.
And so for my parents went down there and they got me. So I started my own band called the Alley Cats, and we played Beatles music. But the
Nice.
cool thing about that story, the bookend, the bookend. There's still a lot more to do, but
Right.
the one huge bookend in my life was that 50 years later I get called to do a CBS special called "The Night That Changed America," honoring the Beatles for that Ed Sullivan Show,
Oh my lord.
and
Wow.
I get to play with Paul and Ringo. But it didn't end there, man. I played with Stevie Wonder, Jeff
Right.
Lynne, Dave Grohl, Joe Walsh, John Legend, Alicia Keys,
Yeah.
Steve Mayer, Keith Urban, and John Mayer, and Pharrell Williams, and let's see, Brad Paisley, and on and on and on. It was just a typical. This is a
Yeah.
typical day in my life.
Right.
But it was extraordinary because it was Paul and Ringo, and that was like so iconic for me
Yeah.
to
Right.
be playing with them.
Was that the everybody has like this oh my god moment in their lives where
Yeah,
they
yeah,
realize that
absolutely.
must have been like just unbelievable.
Yeah, because I mean, 50 years later, I mean, so many
That's
things could have happened
right.
as they did. I mean, George and John were
Right.
dead; they weren't
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
But I mean, the thing is that the real takeaway from it is that in order for me to have even gotten that call, because if you think about it, about around 73 million people in North America saw the Beatles on TV,
That's
but
right.
only one drummer ended up on stage that night playing with them that saw them. So
Incredible.
the thing is why? Okay, well, there's no luck involved at all. It's all just
Wow.
from, you know, that let's just start with purpose and passion, or
Hmm.
Hmm.
your deepest desires, or your truth, whatever you want to call it. It's not up here, it's coming from here.
Hmm.
Thank God I acted on my true feelings, what I really was about.
Right.
And that propelled me and fueled me to work hard, be self-disciplined, and persevere. And what that means is, like, by the time I graduated high school, the day after I graduated high school, I was practicing 8 hours a day,
Right.
7 days a week. Now nobody told me to do that, so
Right.
that is coming from a place of desire. And let me explain a little bit more about why I was practicing 8 hours a day. I was going to school to study classical music because there was no school of rock back then. So I was doing 2 hours on vibraphone, which my parents bought at Carol's Music in New York, secondhand store, vibes. I was doing 2 hours on vibes, practicing scales and reading and technique, 2 hours on timpani, where I was practicing technique, reading, and playing the symphonies, and then 2 hours on snare drum, legit snare drum, rudiments, reading,
Right.
then 2 hours on drum set. And I was in fear of, really sucking, and because in high school I wasn't in the concert band or the symphony band or the marching band. I was
Right.
in a rock and roll band, and I was a 3 letterman jock. I was an athlete. By the time I was a sophomore in high school, I was on 3 varsity sports, which
Oh,
was perfect for developing discipline and, accountability and
mhm.
stuff. And you put those 2 worlds together, and I was the guy that would practice in the music school till 1 or 2 till they throwed me out because I
Wow.
had that. You take that discipline, that, and hard work and perseverance, fueled by that purpose, like I said, that desire, and you become unstoppable,
Yeah.
undeniable, and very authentic because this is who I am.
Yeah.
So you do that for 20, 30 years,
Yeah.
and you're going places, okay?
Yeah.
And it wasn't an easy journey, but I did it. And so eventually, things led to everything. Just if you look at my career, it's ridiculous. It just gets,
Yeah.
and it's still going strong because I'm still that guy that I'm the last guy standing. I wait. I come. I stay later. I come earlier. It's just the way I'm wired.